So hello, lovely listeners, and welcome to the Patreon, where once a month we talk about super fun legal culture stuff for our beloved patrons who help pay for all the logistical things for our project, like our website and etc. Always thankful for our patrons. And this month is a very extra special month because we have two guests, first ever two guests. We have Ian Runkle and Maria Muia, who are both joining us today to talk about My Cousin Vinny. So, Zach, why don't you tell us about what we all watched?
Yes, absolutely. So I'll preface this by saying I didn't grow up watching a ton of legal drama and like legal culture stuff because my mom was very adamant in trying to steer me away from this career that I've ended up in, which is fine and it's great because as all good rebellious kids. But My Cousin Vinny, I had never seen it before. This was my first time watching it, and the shortest version of the synopsis is we have two young boys who are charged with murder in the South, and their cousin, Vinny, conveniently named, is a recently called lawyer, and he's going down to represent them in their murder trial. And I will just go out and say this is probably one of my favorite movies I've seen in a long time, and not just being a legal movie. There's a lot about this movie that I really, really like. But I could talk and talk and talk, but we'll leave it up and open it up to our guests.
I was going to say, so Maria, why don't you go first? What's your experience with the movie and like how did it feel going back to it?
I have to say this is my favorite movie of all time. I think I watch it at least once a year, if not twice, especially when it's on TV. I think the first time I saw this movie was back in first year undergrad. I can't remember which professor decided to post it as like some extra content. And I remember watching it and it was just turned into like a comfort film, especially because I wanted to go into law school and I related very much to the characters and their background, being Italian. So this kind of felt right in my wheelhouse. And going back, I think I rewatched it the other night and it just brings me so much joy to see it and also reminds me why I love doing what I do every day.
Aw, that's so heartfelt. My reasons are way dumber than that, but I'll go last. Ian, what's your experience with the film?
I mean, I really like it as a movie because it's one of the few court movies where I don't sit there the whole time sort of gritting my teeth because there's always some things where you're just like, okay, that's a little unrealistic, but generally everything sort of could happen in a courtroom. And some of it is really good. Like some of it is, stuff you want to show to young lawyers and be like, this is what a cross-examination looks like. And different kinds of cross-examination. Like, this guy is a helpful witness, but he also doesn't realize the limits of his testimony. And through the cross-examination, not only do you show the jury that, the limits of his testimony, but also the witness comes around to, yeah, okay, I guess I couldn't see it that well. And, these are moments that sometimes you have in a courtroom. And so there's, I've been doing criminal law for a while now, and there's lots of sort of places where I can sort of connect that to trials I've run and just be like, yes, this rings true to me. So I really like the movie. I don't know that it's necessarily my favorite, but it's probably my favorite legal movie, just in that sense, because there's plenty of other movies that sort of cover the law, but most of them I have moments where you just grit your teeth at the sort of throwing out courtroom procedure and the like just for the action. And this one doesn't do that.
Yeah, we watched Runaway Jury in the fall as one of our bonus episodes, and we were both like deceased because it was just so ridiculous. Like more ridiculous than like something like Legally Blonde. Like it was outrageous. We were just like, this is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. And like not dumb in a way that actually advances the plot or the characters, just like, I don't know, dumb for dumb's sake. It was very not good. So I get what you mean in that like this actually felt real. Like there was a tangible realness to how everything sort of played out that you could very sort of realistically see happening. So I'd only ever seen it once before. So I watched it a bunch of times in like the 9th grade. So very like 15 years ago, almost 20 years ago. Wow, I'm old. So because I was trying out for a play called Last Stop Till Christmas. And there's a person in the play who has a New York accent. And so I was like, well, I have to practice. I got to be from New York. So I was like, where can I practice? And my parents were like, oh, well, there's this movie called My Cousin Vinny, and in it, Marissa Tomei has this accent that's like very noticeable. And I was like, oh, so that's the only time I'd seen it before yesterday when me and Anthony watched it again. And I forgot like almost all of the parts of the movie that don't take place in the courtroom. Like a lot of it doesn't take place in the courtroom, and I had very little memory of it. So it's like the court parts certainly stuck out to my, it's literally been 20 years since I've seen it because I was 14. I'm almost 34. So yeah, the court parts obviously stick. They have staying power.